I don't know. People need to be nicer on social media because it's really fucked up.
Sydney Sweeney's face is all over Hollywood right now, but her real-life story? It's got more twists and heartbreak than any role she's ever played. Today, she's a full-blown star, running her own production company and owning 6 homes scattered across the country. That kind of success screams luxury, but it wasn't always like that for her.
You guys can all judge me if you want, but I do not care. I have never, ever been happier.
See, Sydney didn't grow up anywhere near fame or fancy red carpets. She was raised in a tiny Washington town, far away from the glitz of Hollywood. From a young age, she knew she wanted to act, but her family didn't have the money or connections to make that dream easy. Her parents would pack up the car and drive for hours just so she could audition in California. Imagine that grind.
You don't understand, Nate, is I am crazier.
By the time she was 13, the family took a leap of faith and moved to Los Angeles. But that dream move came with a heavy price. They ended up broke, selling their home and squeezing into one small hotel room for almost a year. 3 people, 1 bed, and a pull-out couch. That's how tight things got. Her parents pushed through, finding scholarships to cover her private school so she could keep chasing her dream. Even then, Sydney stood out among her richer classmates, showing that pure drive can outshine privilege any day. Her old car was a total mess. It leaked oil everywhere, and she had to jumpstart it just to get it running. That's how rough things got.
I think it's really important for people to see how words actually affect people. And I know everyone says, like, you can't read things and you shouldn't read things, but, like, I'm a f***ing person.
Life back then didn't match the glam that people now associate with Sydney Sweeney. Her parents gave up everything, comfort, savings, and even stability, all to help their daughter chase a dream that most people would have called impossible. But behind all that sacrifice, Sydney carried a heavy feeling of guilt that never really went away. She once told The Times, "The moment I started acting, I could feel it. I knew this was the cause of their stress." That hit deep. Every audition, every rejection. It wasn't just about her career. It was about the pressure she felt watching her parents struggle for her dream. As time went on in Los Angeles, things only got harder. The family spent months trapped in that one cramped hotel room, and eventually, her parents' finances completely collapsed. Bankruptcy followed, and then came the divorce. It was a heartbreak that marked her childhood forever.
I don't know. People need to be nicer on social media because it's really fucked up.
Reflecting on it years later, Sweeney told Variety in 2023, "My parents sacrificed so much to support my dream, and they lost so much during it. I think as a kid, as the eldest, I feel a responsibility. They'll say no or they'll say yes depending on what fight it is, but I'll always feel responsible." That emotional weight didn't fade with fame. It followed her into every role, every success, every red carpet smile. Even with all her fame, Sydney Sweeney's rise on Euphoria took things to another level. On screen, she becomes Cassie Howard, the wild high school girl who's all about parties, booze, and heartbreak. But here's the shocker. In real life, Sydney couldn't be more different from her character. While Cassie spirals through chaos, Sweeney stays far away from heavy drinking or drugs, and there's a deep reason behind it. She once told The Sun, "I'm terrified that I'm going to have that addiction. There's something in my family's blood that just hits a different way when they do stuff." That fear runs deep. Her family's history with substance abuse left a lasting impression, and she's made it clear she never wants to fall into that same trap. And if that wasn't enough to keep her grounded, Sweeney had one big reason growing up to stay in line: her mom. She joked to Elite Daily, "I was terrified of my mother." You can tell she meant it. Her mom wasn't about to let her mess around with the kind of stuff Cassie gets caught up in, half the chaos we see on Euphoria. Her mom wouldn't have tolerated for a second. When Sweeney steps into Cassie's world, it's like she's stepping into a completely different life, one filled with mistakes, heartbreak, and wild emotions. That role didn't just give her fame, it gave her a stage to show her emotional power. Euphoria became her breakout moment, proving she could go toe-to-toe with Hollywood's best. Without Cassie, that complex, messy, and unforgettable character, Sydney's career might have taken a totally different path. The role didn't just change her life, it turned her into one of Hollywood's most talked about stars. And even though she's proud of that, Sweeney admits there's still more to her story. Sydney Sweeney's connection to her Euphoria role hasn't been all praise and glory. It's actually been pretty complicated. A lot of the public attention ended up focusing on her nudity instead of her acting, and that's something that's really bothered her. She told The Independent, "This is something that has bothered me for a while. I'm very proud of my work in Euphoria. I thought it was a great performance, but no one talks about it because I got naked." That frustration cuts deep. She poured her heart into that role, yet people couldn't look past the surface. She's also pointed out how differently things played out with her performance in The White Lotus. There, critics praised her for her depth and acting skills, not just her looks. For Sydney, that contrast exposed a serious double standard in Hollywood. Male actors can take their clothes off on camera and still be celebrated for their performances, while women often get reduced to the shock factor. She told The Hollywood Reporter that she hopes being open about this will push people to have real conversations about how audiences judge actresses. Now, even though some of the online chatter gets nasty, Sweeney's made it clear that filming those mature scenes wasn't the problem. She said she never felt uncomfortable while shooting Euphoria, and a lot of that came down to the trust she built with the show's creator, Sam Levinson. She's praised him for listening to his actors and adjusting scenes when something didn't feel right. That kind of collaboration is rare in the industry, but not every set has been that respectful. She told The Independent, "I've had experiences where I want to go home and scrub myself completely raw because I feel disgusting." That's a heartbreaking confession. She explained that, unlike her work on Euphoria, some productions forced explicit scenes that didn't even make sense for her character, just thrown in for shock value. That kind of treatment left her feeling used instead of understood, a harsh reality that still haunts many actors in Hollywood today. There were times when Sydney Sweeney couldn't even speak up for herself on set, and those moments turned out to be some of the worst in her entire career. Feeling powerless in an industry that constantly watches and judges her has left scars that don't fade easily. Being the center of attention might look glamorous from the outside, but for Sweeney, it comes with a heavy dose of pressure that few people truly understand. She's opened up about her struggles with social anxiety, and fame hasn't made that any easier. In fact, it's only made it worse. She told Teen Vogue, "It definitely puts me down some days. I think that it does for everyone. Even when you say it doesn't, it does. Turning it off helps. Being surrounded by real people helps." Those words show how real her battles are. Behind all the red carpet smiles and flashing cameras, there's still someone just trying to stay grounded. For Sweeney, unplugging and spending time with genuine people is her escape, but even that's getting harder to do. She confessed to The Hollywood Reporter, "I can feel my bubble of who I can talk to and share intimate things with and have relationships shrinking. That hit hard. As her fame skyrocketed, her circle started to shrink fast. Friends changed, trust became fragile, and suddenly, she found herself wondering who was being real and who just wanted something from her." To make it worse, Sweeney said, people don't always take her seriously when she talks about personal struggles. Like her feelings don't count because she's famous. It's a lonely reality, one that fame can't fix, no matter how bright the spotlight shines. Most of the time, Sydney Sweeney does her best to ignore the internet noise. But let's be real, that's not always easy. She tries to keep her focus on what matters: her real life, her work, and the people who actually know her. Sure, she might have a bad day here and there after seeing something cruel online, but usually she lets it roll off her back. But in 2021, that all changed. One night, she opened her phone and saw her name trending, not for a new role, not for an award, but because trolls were calling her ugly. It hit her hard. Instead of staying quiet, she decided to face it head on and went live on Instagram to call out the hate in real time. The emotion was raw, real, and unfiltered. She made it clear that for everyone saying just ignore it, that advice is way easier said than done. Later, she told Cosmopolitan that she had gone live after a really rough day. And yeah, she admitted she felt embarrassed afterward, but she didn't regret it. That moment showed the world her vulnerable human side, and fans saw a glimpse of the person behind the spotlight. Then came Heartbreak in 2023, one that rocked the entire Euphoria family. Angus Cloud, who played the fan-favorite Fesco, passed away at just 25 years old in his Oakland home on July 31st. Fans were shattered, and the cast was devastated beyond words. Angus wasn't just another actor. He was the kind of person who brought light and laughter wherever he went, both on screen and behind the scenes. His loss left a hole in the Euphoria crew that fame and success could never fill. Sydney Sweeney said writing her tribute to Angus Cloud was one of the hardest things she's ever done. She posted a heartfelt memorial on Instagram, writing, "Angus, you were an open soul with the kindest heart, and you filled every room with laughter. The pain in her words was real. Later, she told the BBC that she didn't think she'd truly process his death until she was back on set with the Euphoria cast, surrounded by the people who knew him just as deeply. Losing Angus was brutal, but at least Sweeney had her Euphoria family to grieve with. The bond between that cast runs deep, and together they faced something no one ever expects to deal with so young. Still, Sweeney kept pushing forward in her career, showing her range across comedies, dramas, and horror films. So when the chance came to dive into a superhero movie, she jumped at it without hesitation. Who wouldn't want to suit up for a comic book blockbuster? Unfortunately, that next big move didn't exactly go as planned. Her superhero debut came in 2024's Madame Web, a Sony flick set in the Spider-Man universe. But just like Morbius before it, the movie didn't swing the way fans hoped it would, especially without Spider-Man himself. Madame Web followed Cassandra Webb, a psychic hero discovering her powers and teaming up with the future Spider-Women, including Sweeney's character, Julia Cornwall. Sydney said she loved the intense superhero training and connected deeply with her character's emotional layers. But when the movie hit theaters, things got rough. Critics weren't impressed, audiences didn't vibe with it, and even Looper's review pointed out its major flaws. In the end, Madame Web went down as one of the weakest openings for a Marvel-related film, a tough blow for someone riding such a massive wave of fame. For now, Madame Web is just a quick detour in Sydney Sweeney's otherwise unstoppable rise. And honestly, she's bounced back stronger than ever. Her journey from a small-town girl to a Hollywood powerhouse has been filled with major wins, but also a ton of culture shock. She didn't grow up surrounded by fame, so stepping into an industry that runs on power, image, and competition was a serious wake-up call. Sweeney's been brutally honest about how the entertainment world can twist people. She told The Hollywood Reporter, "Show business is built to try to make you backstab people. It's insane." That line says it all. She's learned the hard way that loyalty isn't exactly a common trait in Hollywood, and trust, it's rare. Even with her Euphoria castmates, she said that kind of cutthroat tension isn't something people talk about. It's just something you feel. But Sydney doesn't keep quiet when it comes to calling things out, especially when it's about how women treat each other in the business. During her chat with Vanity Fair, she dropped a bombshell saying, "This entire industry, all people say is women empowering other women. None of it's happening. All of it is fake and a front for all the other stuff they say behind everyone's back." That was bold, and it got people talking. To Sweeney, Hollywood often feels like a zero-sum game, where one woman's success is seen as another's loss. She's tired of that energy and wants to see something real. Real respect, real support, and real change. For her, it's not just about fame anymore. It's about surviving a system that tests your character every single day. By calling out Hollywood's double standards and refusing to stay silent, Sydney Sweeney isn't just protecting herself, she's trying to change the whole game. She's pushing for a real, honest conversation about how the industry treats women and the toxic pressures that come with fame. Just like her parents once sacrificed everything to help her chase her dream, Sweeney's still making sacrifices of her own every single day. She's constantly hustling, jumping from one project to the next, chasing roles that challenge her and push her further. But all that success doesn't come without a price. The pressure, the exhaustion, the loneliness, it all stacks up. Sweeney knew fame wouldn't be easy, but there's one thing she never expected to lose along the way: her privacy. Talking to The Times, she admitted, "A lot is gone, like privacy, which is huge. You don't realize how much that means until you lose it." That confession hit hard. Too many people assume that fame is a fair trade for losing your personal space, but Sweeney made it clear, it's not that simple. 18-year-old me had no idea what she was signing up for, she said, reflecting on how quickly her life changed once the spotlight hit. Sydney's story proves that fame isn't all glitter and red carpets. It's a fight to stay true to yourself in a world that wants to shape your image for you. If you've been hooked on her journey and want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Let's keep the conversation going.